So, sir, shall we continue in the same way? I will share and you will present, or you will try to share your own PDF?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the PDF which you have sent to me.
Ma'am, one thing. I
Huh?
sent one PDF
Huh?
that is with you. No?
Yes.
I again send another PDF. Okay. So right now with first PDF from the slide number 70, just open slide number 70 and start from there.
1 minute. The one which I was
So that
sharing in the morning, na? That same
yes,
PDF I
not
must say.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Then
coming to slide.
once this portion is complete, then you will use the second PDF.
Okay, sir. Please send the second PDF again because I don't think I have received anything after this.
ये मैंने WhatsApp में भेजा है.
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा.
एक सेकंड रुको, आप जस्ट चेक कर लो, मैंने भेजा भी है, चेक कर लेता हूँ मैंने भेजा भी है कि नहीं.
कोई बात नहीं, I will
नहीं, मैं
message you.
भेज दिया है.
So we start
आपको
with the third session of fourth day, and it is going quite well. I will request Arvind sir to please continue. I am just sharing, sir.
Yeah, you share and give me the control.
Okay, sir, you please request.
कर दिया है रिक्वेस्ट कंट्रोल.
हाँ sir, let me see the name whether it is you.
Yeah, I got the control.
You got the control. Okay.
Just wait, it is working or not. Yeah, it is working.
It is working.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Now I can start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so welcome all of you again. So in the last session, we are discussing about the completely randomized design. There we are assume that whatever blocks you are using or the equipment you are using, units you are using, that are homogeneous. But in the next portion, practically it is not possible. So we are going to use the units which are not homogeneous, but we are taking a liberty that the units are relatively having a gradient type, means relatively homogeneous, means there is a gradient in one direction. So in one direction, so once you cut the strips or you can sort out the units from there, pick up, so that you can find a bunch that those blocks are relatively homogeneous, but they are heterogeneous to the other. So I am not claiming that we are collecting the homogeneous blocks together. We are collecting the blocks which are relatively homogeneous. Okay, and then try to perform the experiment. We do the same replication, same randomization, but now there is another source of variation, is that is due to the blocks, because blocks having its own variation. So we are going to take a account of the variation which is coming due to the blocks. Okay, so this one experimental units are objects of interest in the randomized block design. The completely randomized design you already know. The experimental units are homogeneous in the previous one, but in the next one it is not going to be homogeneous. Okay, so in the randomized block design, the sum of the squares of the total is partitioned into three groups. One portion is sum of squares due to the treatments. It was available in the your last one also. Sum of square due to the blocks. It is coming from the blocks, and sum of squares. Okay, due to errors. So whenever a total sum of squares, so all sum of squares, total sum of squares can be divided into three parts. One part is sum of squares due to treatment, another part is sum of square due to block, and another part is sum of square due to the errors. Okay, so these are the three. Corresponding to these three, there will be the degree of freedoms. I already discussed you the what is the concept of the degree of freedom and why we are using it. So corresponding ANOVA table will be comes in this form. There will be treatment, sum of squares of the treatment, blocks, sum of squares coming from the block, and errors that is coming from this one. So this is the degree of freedom is this one, total degree of freedom is, sorry, n t minus 1, and this is the error degree of freedom. It can be calculated with the help of this, and this. Okay, so corresponding mean of a square is coming, and then we are calculating the f value. We are following the same procedure, same two method, either by the p value or the critical results. We are going to accept or reject the null hypothesis. फिर गायब हो गया. हेलो मैम, हेलो हेलो मैम, ये कंट्रोल नहीं आ रहा है फिर से. हेलो,
यस सर,
ऑडिबल्स नहीं आ रहा है. आप नेक्स्ट स्लाइड आप कर दो, यहाँ से नहीं हो रहा है.
बस 1 मिनट दीजिए सर.
अरविंद भाई कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
ये वाला,
हाँ मतलब, हाँ नेक्स्ट. मेरे में कंट्रोल नहीं आ रहा था.
अच्छा नहीं, अभी तो इट इज गिवन, आई हैव गिवन यू कंट्रोल.
नहीं हाँ अभी चल रहा है. बीच में एक्चुअली बीच में बंद हो जाता है मेरे से चलना. थोड़ी देर तो अच्छा चलेगा.
सर व्हाट हैपेंस ना, इफ आई कंप्लीट एट टाइम्स आई एम नॉट मूविंग द माउस एट ऑल, तो वो इट हैंग्स फॉर अ मोमेंट.
ओके.
हाँ.
सो जस्ट प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल कर रहे हैं. Certain oil has developed 3 new brand of the gasoline oils and must decide which brand or blend to be the produced and distribute. So some companies try to produce the gasoline oil of the 3 brand. So on which one he should produce? So they are thinking to make a study. So they are going to take a decision on the basis of mileage per gallon rating of the 3 blends in being conducted to determine the mean rating and the same for the 3 different blends. So they are just coming. So वो experiments के लिए करते हैं. So किया क्या, अब यहाँ देखिए, यहाँ आपका फैक्टर क्या है. फैक्टर ये गैसोलीन ब्लेंड है. ट्रीटमेंट क्या है, 3 डिफरेंट ब्रांड है. और ब्लॉक्स क्या है, ऑटोमोबाइल्स हैं. So when we are going to conduct your experiment on the automobile, so automobiles may vary, because if I'm using 4 bikes are totally new, same thing is there, but their performance may be different from the each bike, and who is driving, that is another issue. And the response variable is the mileage per gallon. So calculation of this one, it is a given, this is the calculation. So here we are calculating the mean of the treatment means. It is the treatment mean from the brand Y, it is treatment mean from the brand Z, and for the first bike this is the block average, for the second bike it is the block average, for the third bike, fourth bike, and fifth bike. Okay, so now in the previous one we are just discussing only in one direction. What we are showing, only one treatment is there is no cause of the under variation. Here there is 2-dimensional things. What, suppose this value is having 31 value and total average is, we are expecting it should be 34. So if I am expecting it should be 34, it is coming 31, means there is a variation. So some portion is coming from the grand mean, some portion is coming due to this brand, and some portion is coming from the variation is coming from which bike it is running. So variation is coming from these 2 sources for everyone. So now we have to check that these brands are, can we use it or not? No, just go ahead and then फिर हैंग कर रहा है मैम ये फिर. हाँ जस्ट अब, हाँ ओके गुड. ओके, तो जस्ट करस्पॉन्डिंग कैलकुलेशन सेम वे में किया गया है. देन वी कैलकुलेटेड द एफ वैल्यू एंड देन this is the f value and p value is 0.07. So on the basis of p value, if we are alpha is 0.10, so we can reject the H0. Otherwise, if we are using the level of significance is 0.05, then we can accept it. So I already told you, whenever you start your testing of hypothesis problem, you should decide the level of significance. Level of significance is a predefined number. Basically, it is a upper bound of probability of rejecting the H0 when H0 is true. So in testing of hypothesis, two type of error. So type 1 error, maximum how much you can manage. So you are deciding that we can manage type 1 error should be less than or equal to this one. So for that, you are defining a predefined number, that is level of significance. Suppose if someone is given this problem with level of significance 0.10, in that case, your hypothesis is going to reject. If someone is giving your problem with level of significance 0.05, then you have to accept the null hypothesis. There is no problem. Ma'am, next. ओके नाउ ये प्रॉब्लम्स है, और इन प्रॉब्लम्स को हम प्रैक्टिकली कैसे करेंगे हम इसको देखते हैं आर का यूज करके। मैम ये आर को यूज करने के लिए तो मुझे अपना यूज करना पड़ेगा ना, शेयर। हेलो हेलो
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is my screen is visible?
Yes, it's visible, sir.
दिखाई दे
I
रही है?
think you have opened Notepad, sir.
नहीं, मैंने अभी आर को खोल रखा है, दिख रहा है?
Visible, sir, visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
There is a lot of disturbance. Abhinav sir, when you unmute, then there is a lot of disturbance. Sir, it's visible. You please continue.
Okay, so no, so design of एक्सपेरिमेंट के लिए और टू वे एनालिसिस के लिए, वन वे एनालिसिस के लिए, डेटा के लिए, सो बेसिकली ये जो हमने which we have discussed the randomized block design. So randomized block design is basically a two-way analysis of variance. So you can directly use that one, CRD, RBD, or two-way analysis or one-way analysis. These are the corresponding structures for the same thing. I am just going to give the one simple illustration. Simple illustration just see. These are the library which should be there when you are going to do these things. So now I am coming to the data. So from this file, it is a crop.data file. It is a file. So now this is the file. This is a density, block, fertilizer, and yield. This is given. So now it is given and it is total 96 numbers. So now we just want to get the what is the summary of the data. Just run the command summary of the data. So it will provide you the summary of this one. Now, so now this is a summary of your summary of the data, and then we want to do the one-way analysis for this one. If I want to do the one-way analysis, and then just simple run the one-way ANOVA, yields, fertilizer, data.crop, and then just write down the summary. So in this summary, what you are getting? You are getting the whatever we are showing here. This type of treatment calculations. So whatever treatment calculation we are showing you are going to get this type of things here. So I used a different data set. So you are getting the fertilizers. Fertilizers for the one-way classification, we are thinking that only source of variation is the fertilizers. So we just want to check that fertilizers are effective or not, equal or not. So that is a fertilizer. There are 3 fertilizers. Their corresponding residual degree of freedom is there, sum of squares is there, mean sum of square is there, F value is there, and it is the corresponding P values. By this one, we are getting the information that the mu1, mu2, and mu3 are not equal. Okay. Now, for the same data, if we want to run the two-way analysis, then we just run. So for the two-way analysis, see, fertilizer is a one source of variation, density is another source of variation, and then the residual. This is the degree of freedom, and corresponding to this one, we can show that there is significant difference between both cases. So we cannot say that the density and fertilizers are having the same. So we are going to reject them. So is same thing. I just not discuss the theory about the interaction effects, but if someone is willing to get the interaction effect for the fertilizer and density, you can find this one and see. It was showing that when you combining the fertilizer and density interactive effect, that hypothesis you are going to accept. Okay, so corresponding to this one, and then come to the blocking, and this one for the blocking.
Arvind sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We are able to see your notepad.
Not the R.
No, you will have to unshare and share again.
मैम मैं ऐसा एक काम करता हूँ, ये जो फाइल है
नहीं सर सुनिए मेरी बात सुनिए. Once you switch between the screens, then in Microsoft Teams you have to unshare and again share. आप नोटपैड की शेयरिंग बंद कर दीजिए और आर स्टूडियो को सिलेक्ट कर लीजिए, वो शो कर देगा.
Now is it visible? मैम अभी दिख रहा है?
Yes, it's visible. हाँ, yes, it's visible.
Visible.
तो मैं एक बार फिर से शुरू करता हूँ, ठीक? सबसे पहले हमें first we need these 5 libraries. Then it is a file where I have saved the data. So this is the data file, and data file is saved at this location. This is the location. So you can just define the path, and just from the path you can read any file which is on the CSV format or any other format. You can change according to that one and read the data. Once you store all the data in the crop.doc, you can get the display of this one. So once we get display of this one, so now we can get the data. So from the data we can run and try to find what is the summary. So it is a summary of data. It is the basic minimum, maximum, median, mode, first quartile, third quartile is given. So that is not of much use. So now we are coming to the one-way analysis. For the one-way analysis, we have to just run simple 2-line commands. It is a fertilizer of squares, mean sum of squares, F value and corresponding P values. So on the basis of corresponding P values and calculated values, you can take your decisions. Here decision is that you are going to reject the H0. For the same data, if you are thinking that it is a two-way, this density is also having some effect on the yield. So I just want to check that one. So for this one, fertilizer, degree of freedom is this one, sum of squares is this one, density is this one, and residual is this one. Corresponding degree of freedom is here. Sum of squares, mean sum of squares, corresponding F values and corresponding P values. Okay. So now on the basis of this one, you can take your decision. Even in this situation, you are going to reject the both cases null hypothesis that there is significant differences there. Now, third portion is that we are not discuss about the theoretical part of the interaction effect because it takes a lot of time. So I just show you, if you are willing to check the interaction effect of the fertilizer and density as a combined effect. So here degree of freedom is 2, this one, and when you see this one is significant. Means when you use the in a combination, whatever effect is there, that is equal. Okay, now we are change into the block and make the blocking, and then corresponding in the blocks structure, you are again get the corresponding analysis of variance tables, and then corresponding to that one, on the basis of p-values, you can take the decisions. So once you make the blocking, then we just want to find the some plots. So these are the plots of the residual class. It is a normal QQ plots, scale location plot, and so what is the control leverages residual versus factor levels. So these are the basically plots, and these plots can be interpreted theoretically. Okay, so now we are not going to discuss these things here because I have to go to the next one also. And this is the one particular design, and it is also used. So these are the commands, and I will share all of you to these commands. You can use these commands for the analysis of variance for the different things. Okay, now I am coming to the next portion. Next portion is that मैं अभी स्टॉप करना है और मुझे फिर से शेयर करना है. एक बार मैं शेयर करके देखूं या आप शेयर करोगे?
आप ट्राई करिए.
मैं एक बार ट्राई कर लेता हूँ. दिख रहा है?
मैं कर रही हूँ. मैं अच्छा आप कर. हाँ हाँ हो रहा है सर.
हो रहा है?
यस यस.
अगर ये हो रहा है तो फुल स्क्रीन हो गया?
यस सर.
गुड. फुल स्क्रीन हो गया तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं. सो नाउ टेस्टिंग ऑफ हाइपोथेसिस एंड नॉन पैरामीट्रिक इन्फ्रेंस इज द पार्ट ऑफ दिस सेशन. So testing of hypothesis आप लोग पढ़ चुके हो. I think all of you are knowing about the testing of a hypothesis, but I am not going to discuss those minor details of the testing of hypothesis. I just want to give the views on the testing of hypothesis in two different ways. I think whatever you are studied the testing of hypothesis in the parametric setup, and I am going to discuss things in the non-parametric setup. So first question is what is the parametric setup and what is the non-parametric setup. In parametric setup, you are assuming that your observations are following some particular distribution, and then you are using those observations for your inference. In that cases, you are also using the form of the density or probability mass function, whatever you are assumed, and then you are concluding your inferences on the basis of the distributions. So whenever a particular shape is involved, then we are saying that it is a parametric structure. In non-parametric structure, we are not making any assumption regarding the data. That data is coming from this distribution or that distribution. Suppose you are saying that your data is coming from the normal distribution or binomial distribution or Poisson distribution, means you are making the claim that your data is having this form. But if I am saying no, my data is coming from the continuous distribution, it is independent and identically, but it is not following any distribution. So when we are not assuming any form of the distribution, then this type of discussion or analysis or inference known as a non-parametric structures. So testing of hypothesis is basically, even in the morning I told you, the testing of hypothesis is basically a problem of partition the whole sample space into two parts. One is a critical region, another is the acceptance. So why I am discussing this one is that whenever you collect a data, you are collecting a data of two types. One is the categorical data, another is a quantitative data. Okay, so whenever is a quantitative data, you can, most of the time what you are using parametric structure or something. So I am saying that suppose, okay, so you have to do the testing of hypothesis, you have to do some test. So how you are going to select your test? So for the selection of the test, this chart can be used. Suppose predictive variable, categorical versus or quantitative. So it can be in two parts. If data is quantitative, outcome variable is categorical or quantitative, then again there is two options. You can go for the logistic regression. If it is a quantitative data, just go ahead. How many predictor variables are there? Just see it there. If it is one, go for the simple regression. If it is more than one, go for the multiple regression. Here again you have a instead of quantitative data, you have a categorical data. Outcomes variables are categorical or quantitative. So if it is categorical, go for the chi-square. If it is for the quantitative, you go for the do a comparison of the mean test. If going for the comparison of mean test, you have many groups are being compared. If it is a 2, use the t-test. If you have more than 2 tests, how many variable outcome is there? If it is 1, use the ANOVA, which we are using analysis of variance type of test. If it is more than 1, then you go for the MNOVA. So multivariate analysis of that one. So basically how you have to decide for your test, you can on the basis of this type of chart, you can just go ahead. So I am just giving these things in the form of the table, and then I am just trying to suggest that these structures which you are going to use, that is a parametric or non-parametric, and what you are going to compare. When you are using the t-test, it is a parametric test. Sorry. When you are using t-test, it is a parametric test. What you are comparing the mean. How many samples are there? 2 samples are there. When you are using analysis of variance test, then it is parametric. Yeah, it is parametric, because for the observation and other thing, we told you that you have to make assumption that it is coming from the normal distribution. So what you are comparing there, you are comparing again the mean, but how many samples are there? Samples are there 3 or 3 plus. Then Moore's median test. Moore's median test is a parametric test. No, it is a non-parametric test. What you compare the median, and it is used for the 2 plus samples. Wilcoxon sign rank test. This one is no, it is a non-parametric test. So what you are comparing the distribution and for the 2 samples. Wilcoxon rank sum test or Whitney U test, it is a non-parametric test. Sum of ranks, on the basis of sum of ranks you are calculating, and it is a 2 sample. Then Coulson-Walsh test, it is a non-parametric mean ranking, and it is used for the more than 3 samples. Suppose here whatever we are telling, we are just most of the time we are talking about the mean, median, or the ranking of the median. So basically we are talking about the measure of central tendency or the distributions. If you are not talking about the measure of central tendency, is not in your radar for the testing. If for the testing in your radar there is a correlation coefficient. So if you are going for the testing for the correlations, so for the correlation, if you are using the Pearson's test, then it is a parametric. So variables are the interval or the ratio variables. Spearman's rank test, it is a non-parametric test. It is the ordinal, interval, or ratio or variables. Chi-square test of independence, it is a parametric test, no normal, ordinal, variables. Chi-square test is the one of the test which can be used in the form of the parametric as well as non-parametric. I think all of you have studied the chi-square test in the previous classes in the form of the parametric structures. Okay. Now, when we come into the regression testing, when you go for the regression test, what you want to predict outcome is there. So if it is a multivariate linear regression, 2 plus more interval or ratio variables are there, outcome is this one. Logistic, normal regression, ordinal regression. For different type of regression, you can use different type of test, and what will be the predictor and what will be the outcomes, it is there. Okay. Now we are coming to the particularly for the non-parametric test. In non-parametric test, what you have to read, this is the name of the test. It is a predictor variable. It is a quantitative, categorical data or group data. Which type of data is there, and whatever is outcome is in which form and which test you are going to use in this one. Okay, so they are talking about the similar type of structure with coming from the particular density structure, which test can be used in the parametric setup. So Pearson's row is similar type can be used. Chi-square, Pearson's or sign rank test, one sample t-test. This one ANOVA, MNOVA, Wilcoxon independence of t-test, and Wilcoxon sign rank test. It is a paired t-test. So by using these ones, you can get different non-parametric test which is used to find this one for the testing purpose. Okay, so now first I am just try to concentrate us on the chi-square and then comparison. I start chi-square with Z statistics because you are familiar with the Z, because I don't want to be a overlap more things. I just want to use only Z because you are yesterday use the Z, and then we'll come to the Z, this one chi-square. So data can be two part, quantitative and qualitative. If it is discrete and continuous, there is no problem. For the qualitative data, there is a lot of things are there. You can just use them and go ahead. For the qualitative data there you can measure in the form of the either you have to check the proportion or you have to check the independence. So when for the independence, chi-square test is there. When you're talking about the proportion, their Z test and chi-square test can be used. Z test for the differences of the two proportions can be used. I think this one is, yeah. So when you define a hypothesis H0, H0 can be defined in three different ways, and H1 can be defined in corresponding way. First, I am saying this, suppose I have two population and then we are talking about the proportion. So that may be P1 is equal to P2. So if P1 is equal to P2, we can write down also P1 minus P2 is equal to 0. Second, P1 is greater than P2, it is rewritten, it can be written as P1 minus P2 is greater than 0. C1 P1 is less than P2 is corresponding, can be written in this form. So this is a null hypothesis. Corresponding alternate hypothesis is proposed here. You can use these are the corresponding alternate hypothesis. Even you can corresponding to this one, you can some other also, but most of the time people are using this one. So now this one is coming. So now corresponding, what is the assumptions? When you are going for the Z test for the difference of the two populations are the independent, populations are follow the binomial distribution. Normal approximation can be used for the sample size more than 5. In generally statistics we are using whenever sample size is more than 30, we are telling that it is a large sample. So but in some cases it is a moderate sample of 10 or 15 is sufficient. So we can use in this proportion type of cases, if it is following a binomial distribution, then we can use this one. So this is a corresponding test statistic, that is a just test statistic for the two proportion. This is the estimated values, and these are the values which we are proposing in the null hypothesis. It is for the standard variation portion we are calculating this one, and this can be calculated by the estimated value of the combined samples, and estimated value of proposed combined proportion is this one, and then corresponding to sample size proportion is incorporated, and then we are getting this statistic. Once we get this Z value, then we have to compare this Z from the theoretical value. So if this one is this structure, now we are just trying to explain what distribution is following and why we are writing this one. If x1 minus x2 bar is a normal this one, and this P1 hat P1 is a normal this one. So whatever system is you are going to use, that Z is going to follow a normal distributions. Okay, so now we are just want to use the Z test for the two proportional thinking challenges. So there is a two MA and CA are the two places, and then we are talking about the 74 of people are surveyed, and this case that this one where does it? Okay, so they are talking about the thinking, and then they are telling that the very simple way. I am again and again repeating, whenever we are selecting this H0, we should be very careful, because H0 should not, whatever the situation, H0 should not be bashed. I am telling very simple situation. Suppose someone is coming to my room or in my office, and he is coming for some particular job or something. If I assume in the beginning that he is useless, whatever he is going to do in the interview, there is very less chances that he is going to be selected. Or suppose someone is going to the court. If court start with an assumption that H0, that he is going to test the hypothesis, So, and court fixed the hypothesis that you are a criminal. If once decided, the court decided that you are a criminal or you are a guilty, then for you it is very difficult to prove that you are innocent or you are not guilty. Due to this reason, in Indian systems, courts are assuming that if someone is coming to the court, he is not guilty unless he is proved it. So someone is not proved, then he is not guilty. Court start with the assumption that H naught is he is not guilty. So always try to take an assumption about the H naught is the simplest one. You decide the H naught, corresponding you can decide the H1. Then these are the sample size, corresponding sample size you have just decided. See, here what we are saying that we are taking in the alternate this one. That both population, our observation thinking is that both population are equal, but in realistic alternate assumption, what is saying that if it is not there, then it should be there. The PMA should be less than PCA. So when you are calculating this one, this portion is generally direction of this one or something, whatever is written, this defines direction of your critical region. See, this decide your direction of the critical region, and this alpha level of significance or H naught define the how long your or how short or how small or how big is going to be your critical region. So on the basis of that one, so test strategy you have to use previous one. So you just calculated intermediate values which are given to the previous examples, and then calculated the Z value. Corresponding Z value is minus 4.0. And for the alpha is equal to 0.5, theoretical value is minus 1.6.41. So then you have to, what is your decision? Reject the H naught and conclude that there is the evidence that MA is less than CA. So whatever you are calculating, that is you are rejecting the H naught, that both are not equal. They are in favor of the result, in the favor of MA. Okay. So now we are coming for the chi-square test of independence between two categorical variables. So now we are basically talking about this one. So if a relationship exists between two quantitative variables but does not show casually, assumption, multivariate, multinomial experiment, all exceeds counts greater than 5, use two-way contingency table. Okay. Suppose we are talking about there is a urban and rural peoples are there, so they are affected by the disease or not. So our thinking is that this urban or rural having some role or they are independent. So we just found peoples having a disease in urban 63, in rural it is 49. So total 112 peoples are having a disease. No disease is 15 in urban and 33 in rural. So no disease is 48 and total peoples are 160. This is the thing that we are just found from the observation. Now for the H naught we find the variables are the independent and variables are the dependent. We are having these two hypotheses. Now so if hypothesis is there corresponding to that one, we have to find the test statistics. So test statistics, Nij is the observed constants and it is the expected value whole square divided by the expected value. By using this one we can find the calculated value of the chi-square. Okay, and degree of freedom is R minus 1 and C minus 1. I already discussed in the last class what is the degree of freedom, how it is calculated and what is the physical interpretation of that. So statistical independence means the joint probability equal to the product of the marginal probability. This is a very simple definition. Whenever those people are studying the independent random variable or independent probability, they are always studying that product should be the equal marginal product of the marginal should be equal to the joint. That is the basic thing. Compute marginal probabilities and multiply it for the joint probability. Expected count in the samples times of the joint probability. Now, then expected count. How to calculate the expected count? So this is 112. This portion total is this one. So marginal probability is this one. So from urban, marginal probability is for this portion. It is a marginal probability is this one. For this point, marginal probability and joint probability. Marginal probability and joint probability, you will get this probability. And then you have to just multiply by 160. So expected count, this is a joint probability, and then it is a total number. So it is expected number is this one. So for this point, expected number is this one. Expected count, you just calculated, you calculated expected observation for the rural, urban, and expected for the rural. I just written all the things in the same table, so you can just see this one. Now, so just put all the values in the formula and we can get the results. Now we are coming to the second example. First example is that corresponding to this one, we just write down the tables. After that, we will go for the calculations. Here it is a randomly 268 sexually active individuals are collected. Information on their HIV status and history of STD, sexually transmitted disease, at the level of 0.05 level. The evidence of the relationship. So there is a no, yes, this one. So for this one, same, we have to just go ahead. We define the null hypothesis, no relationship. There is a relationship. Size of breast defined in the beginning. Degree of freedom will be there. Then corresponding to that one, we just for the chi-square, given degree of freedom, chi-square degree of freedom 1, theoretically we define. We just find the theoretical value, and then for the HIV, we just do all the calculation and find the calculated value in this one. Tabulated value is 3.85. So what is decision? Calculated value is greater than tabulated value. So we are going to reject the H0. So conclusion, there is evidence of the relationship between this one. So these are the not independent cases. There is a relationship between the sexually transmitted disease and sexually active persons. Okay. So now this is the one portion is closed. Okay. Now we are going to the next portion. Two minutes just. Okay, just so I am discussing about the chi-square. So I just want to discuss one very particular things and very particular situation that people are facing and but ignoring it. See, there is a problem. Just try to understand the problem. Problem is that you are given some problem to your student to do and conduct a survey, and after conducting the survey, give me the result. Okay. So one student went to went to the field and collected this data, and he has collected 150 data, and this is the agree, this is the male, females, agree, disagree chart for a particular question. He's collected the data and he is submitting the result to you. But there is another student who got the same assignment, but he's not collected the data. But what he did, he collect his data from his friend, and he tells that, please give me the. Yeah, he just asked his friend and just tell him that, please give him this one. Same data set. And what he did, he just tried to do one thing. There is 150 data, and what you did, he just tried to change the data. Just multiply by the some constant and something, and in a such a way that his data looks bigger than the others one. So what he did, he just multiply by the some constant and just get the data. So original data is same, but what he did, he just make a changes and just multiply by something and he just try to get the another results. So what happened? See, so this was student when he starts, he got the chi-square distribution and then that is the value. Another student do the calculation and get this chi-square value. And now the question is that when you complete the question, so what is going to be the result when you go for the chi-square test, when your n is equal to 600 and corresponding to that one, this chi-square, then one of them is going to accept and another result is going to be the reject. So most of the time students are doing the manipulations and we are unable to find that one. For such type of situation, either you are expert in the data or there is some phi test. Phi test is there whenever someone is doing any manipulation or changes in the raw data of the your any survey or something. If two students are coming with a chi-square test on the same problem with different sample size, for the exact test, you should use the phi test. Use the phi test, calculate the chi-square value, then divided by n, find the square of n, and then use the phi table to take your decision. Whatever decision you are going to take, that is going to be the correct. Okay, so now, so my question, whenever we people are using this chi-square test and students are using different students coming with a different sample size on the same questions, we should not take decision only on the basis of this chi-square test. We should go further one more step where sample size role should also included and take the decisions on the value of the phi test. Okay, now just one second. चला गया, ये आ गया, ये आ गया। इसमें क्या मतलब है? So now we are going to concentrate on the non-parametrical statistical methods. In a non-parametrical statistical method, suppose that if someone is saying that it is the following this distribution normal and this one, you can say that it is a parametric model. If there is no idea about that one, you are saying that it is a non-parametric model. So now here we are going to discuss about the some test which can be used in the non-parametric structures. So suppose we are talking about this one, jet test and t-test. If your observations are coming from the normal distribution and you want to check that equality of the mean. So if you are talking about the inequality of means, you are using the z and t on the basis of the your variance is known or unknown. If you estimate variance is known, you use this test. If your variance is unknown, use this one, and then you are just go ahead. But if it is a no idea, then what you should do? मेरा ये कहना है, suppose I am telling that there is 2 population, but I don't have any idea that, suppose I am teaching 2 batches, batch number 1 and batch number 2, different number of students in both batches. I am teaching the same paper. I have to test that these students are both batches are same. So I don't have any idea that marks of the students are following this distribution for first batch or the second batch. So what I can do, instead of the mean, most of the time it can be used that if data is there, so it is data is not highly skewed. If data is not highly skewed, then you can just 1 second, sorry. Hello. भाई
Yes,
तीन
who is
पैकेट
that?
लेते
Yes,
आएंगे।
yes.
हाँ हाँ यार मैं एक्चुअली क्लास में हूँ, क्लास के बाद देख लेता हूँ, ठीक है? ओके, थैंक यू भाई। ओके, सो नाउ सी, when you have no idea about the structure of the population, it is very difficult. So there is another methods. If you cannot compare by the mean, can you compare by the median? We can compare by the median also. So for that one, there is non-parametric structures we are using, and this is the sign test, Wilcoxon sign test. These tests are there, and then we are using these tests. And suppose I am starting with one test. Suppose my hypothesis is median is mu naught, and another hypothesis is median is not equal to mu naught. So suppose I have a data to calculate the median of the data. There is no need of the knowledge of the distribution, just from the data, ordered it, find the middle value, that is the median. So now there is a calculated median is there, theoretical median mu naught is with you. Then now you have to check the number of observations that exceeds this one mu naught. So commonly, if h naught median is equal to mu naught is true, we would accept 50% of the observation to be above the h naught and 50% of observation to be below the mu naught. But this one is not going to happen. So there will be some chances that some 2 plus 3 is there, 2 is less side. So in that case, we have to make a limit up to which limit we have to accept it is coming from the same distribution. So suppose there is a median, theoretical median is telling that it is a 35 and total observation in the sample is 50. So if 50 is total sample size, so I am expecting 25 observations should be less than 35 and 25 observations should be greater than 35. But when we go for practical cases, we found that 23 cases are the less than 25 and 27 cases are greater than 25. So now what I should do? If this 23 is 24 and 26, definitely I will tell no problem. It is the same median. Even if it is 23 and 27, we can say no, it's okay. So now we have to decide up to which limit we are going to accept that it is a median is whatever we have said that it is 35. So we have to decide that limit. So in this sign test, we are defining that one. So suppose, so if H naught is a true, then S will have a binomial structure, then this one. And suppose if you are calculated data from the binomial, if it is not, it will be go to the other side. So this is the basic structure. Suppose we are talking about the H naught is true, that S will be have the binomial distribution and this one. Suppose हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पे वापस क्यों आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमें जो होता है चीजें वहीं से समझ में आती हैं. हमारे पास we have a data, but we don't have an idea that from it is coming from the binomial distribution. It may be from the binomial distribution. So if it is from the binomial distribution and we don't have a something, then we can calculate the probability, and then corresponding to this one we can just write down the structures. So by using this one, see this one, these two, I think all of you when study this critical reason and testing of hypothesis problem, you just studied and learned how to calculate the critical reason with help of H naught and alpha. So here we are calculating, deciding that up to which extent we have to go or we have to leave it. So for that one, we are just try to apply these ones and try to these red bases, we are try to calculate, decide our what should be the our critical reason. Okay, so suppose that we are interested in the determining a new drug is effective in the reducing the cholesterol. So अब हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये कि मैं पर ड्रग चेक करना है. So what we have to do, hence we administer the drug to the N candidates. So patients are having the cholesterol and measure their reductions. अब सीधा सवाल है, cholesterol में जो increase या decrease होगा, that is not going to follow any distribution. But see, case number 1, case number 2, case number 3 and case number 10. This is the initial values. It is the final values. Now we are talking about the reduction. Here we are getting a reduction, here we are getting a reduction, here we are getting a reduction, here we are getting a reduction. But in these two cases, it is increased. Reduction is negative, means values are increased, means here, there after taking the medicine, cholesterol is increased. So there is no change and this one. So now what we should do? We should accept the medicine or we should leave the medicine. So now, think, if you think in that way, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 observations that cholesterol is reduced. 2 cases cholesterol is not reduced. In 1 cases there is no change. Now we have to take the decision that drug is effective or not. So when we are going for the effectiveness, we are going to start with a very simple hypothesis. We are starting the hypothesis the drug is not effective. Median is less than or equal to 0. Against the hypothesis the drug is effective, median reduced to the reduction is greater than 0. The sign test, the number of positive observations. So number of positive observations are 8. When you are going for the sign test, if it is 0, we are treating it as a positive. So when we presented this one, so p-value is probability of S is greater than 8. And then when you calculated this one, p-value is 0.547. And since it is p-value is greater than 0.05, so we cannot reject the H naught. Means ये आप ये सोचो, अभी भी ये जो 8 केसेस आए हैं और इसके बाद भी हम इस सिचुएशन में वी कैन नॉट रिजेक्ट, वी आर गोइंग टू एक्सेप्ट द ड्रग इज नॉट इफेक्टिव this just by this data. But what the general people said, oh no, 7 there is a reduction is there, but for other reduction is one is reduction is not there, so we can reject the null hypothesis and we can accept that this one a drug is effective. But when you go for the statistics, with the statistics, no, you cannot reject the hypothesis and you have to say that your drug is not effective. So whenever you are going to carry out the sign test, what steps you have to follow? You have to compute S, the number of observations greater than mu naught. Then S observed is equal to the observed value of S. Compute the p value, probability of S is greater than or equal to observed value. It is a 2 times the probability for the two-tailed test. You have to use this one. Use the table for the binomial distribution. P is equal to 1/2 for n is equal to sample size. Conclude HA if p value is less than this one. So whatever decisions we are taking here, we are using on the basis of p values. Okay. Now, is that here? If this number of observation is 10, 15 or something, then what we can do the calculation and apply the binomial distribution. And all of us, we are aware that when n is very large, we cannot apply the binomial distribution. We have to transfer it somewhere. Okay, so most of the time it is transferred to the normal case, and some of the time it is goes to the Gaussian case. So, but most of the time it is goes to the normal generally. So if n is large, we can use the normal approximation of the binomial. Namely, S has a binomial distribution with p is equal to 1/2 and n is equal to sample size. Hence, for log n, S has approximately a normal distribution, which this mean np is n/2 and standard deviation is this one. So now, whatever the situation, you have a mean and standard deviation. So now, hence for large n, use the test statistics in place of S. Z is equal to S minus mu s divided by sigma s. S minus n/2 under root n upon n. So you can just calculate S from your observation. You will get this is the calculated value, and just from the this Z alpha by 2 or Z alpha, whatever is your alternate hypothesis corresponding to that one, you can use that one, and then you can take your decisions. Okay, so non-parametric confidence interval is not okay. Discuss this confidence interval because I am just skipping it. Will take a lot of time, and that is not of much use. Okay. So at this, see, whenever you are dealing with non-parametric structures, in non-parametric structure, whatever calculations or statistics are used based on the order statistics. Order statistics means whenever you have a sample, you just arrange them in an increasing order, and then first observation is minima of xi, last observation is maxima of xi, and in between they are the ordered observations is there. So whenever you have a sample, you just change the rearrangement. Rearrangement is that just you find the ordering, you make the order. I just tell you, suppose you have, if you have a sample and you are making any conclusion on the basis of x1, x2, xn, and if you use the second one, just order the sample and then value of xi, you just use the, it is what is the order of that one. If you combine this one, this way is more effective than the simple random sample calculation which we are doing. So in the order statistics and non-parametric structures are very powerful without any previous assumptions, and they are giving very good results. Just why they are giving good results? They are giving the good results is that because they are not using the only the values, they are also using their orders to get the conclusions. Okay. So now, we are coming to the next test, that is the Wilcoxon sign rank test. In this test, what we are doing, not only the sign of the test means, suppose this observation is positive or negative, we are checked only these things. No, something is positive, it's okay, but what is the ranking of this one? It is negative, it's okay, but what is the ranking of this one? So we combine both things and then we have developed the other test. Okay. Yeah, Wilcoxon, an alternative sign test. This a sample size n x1 x2 xn from an unknown distribution, and we have want to test h naught, the center of the distribution, mu is equal to mu naught against mu is not equal to mu naught. No, center of the distribution means median. Okay. For the sign test, we would count the s and the number of positive cases, this one. But here we reject the h naught is s, not close to n by 2. Okay. But come to here, where for the Wilcoxon sign rank test, what we do, we would assign the ranks to the absolute value of the xi minus mu naught, means whatever value you are getting here, find the absolute value to corresponding to that one, and then find their orders, and then the rank of 1 to the value of xi minus mu naught, which is the smallest in the absolute value, the rank of n to the value of xi minus mu naught, which is the largest in the absolute value. So now you have two things there, it is positive or negative, one thing. Second thing is that it is what is the absolute ranking, and then w plus the sum of the ranks associated with the positive values of xi minus mu naught. So whatever observations are here, these observations are going to be two types, one is the positive, another is negative. So but when you take the rank is different, and then corresponding to that one, whatever the original values. So for the original value, what is the rank? Select only those observations which are having the positive ones, and corresponding to those, suppose out of 35, 17 is positive. So out of these 17, just try to find what is their rank, and the remaining w minus is the sum of the ranks associated with the negative values. So, and in the same way for the negative values, find the ranks. Then, but w plus and w minus, you will get the n into n plus 1 by 2. Basically, it is the sum of the n natural numbers. And then, hence h naught is true when this w plus and w minus are equal to the same. And then, corresponding to this one, we just use this one. H naught is true. Then either w plus is very small, or w plus is very large, or w plus is very large and w minus is very small. So now we have to compare. So H naught is going to reject only in these two conditions. If W plus and W minus are the nearer to each other, then we cannot reject the H naught. Okay. So now, if true median is this one, and we are talking about the mu naught. So this, in that case, when you do the calculation, W plus will be large and W minus will be large and W plus will be small. So you are going to reject the H naught. Here, if actual value is here, then what happened? W minus is small and W plus will be the large. If this value is very close to this one, then you are going to get these two values are the very close to each other. Okay. Note that if it is possible to work out the sampling distribution of W plus and W minus and hence H is 2 naught. Sorry, 1 second. It can be done under, assume that they are having the equal probability under H naught, and you can find this one and then rank, and then corresponding you can find the probability. So for n is equal to 4, their table is there. So for n is equal to 0 is 1 by 2, W minus is 0 with this probability. So by using this probability, what you can see, probability of t is equal to t and probability of t is less than or equal to small t. So from this one, these are the values found in, you can use from any textbook, you can find this one, because whatever is there, you just submit, and basically it is a cumulative distribution function corresponding to this one for sample size n is equal to 10, and then this type of the Wilcoxon sign rank test, which corresponding to sample size t will be this one, and this will be given in your table. By using this table, you have to take your decision that what you are going to accept or reject the H naught. Okay, now this is the Wilcoxon rank set continuous. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So for a sample size n is greater than or equal to 2. See, whatever tables are, it is given up to 10 or something. So for n is equal to, for greater than or equal to 2, we can find approximate structures which can be used as a large sample properties, and then that can be used as a approximated by a normal distribution. So there is a big proof is there. You can, for n is greater than or equal to 2, you can convert these structures, and then you can find the mean of this structure, and then where standard deviation is this one, so probability of t is this one. So this one is basically a Z distribution, and Z is this one. So we can see here, this is the mean and this is the variance. Whenever we are talking anything about the normal distribution or approximation of normal distribution, suppose if I am starting from the binomial structure, when we are talking about the sign rank test for the large sample, what we did, we find the, by using the binomial distribution, what will be the mean and what will be the variance or standard deviation. Here, if n is greater than or equal to 12, then what should be the mean and what should be the variance? So it is basically standard deviation. So now we are going to use standard deviation and variance. So by using this standard deviation and variance, we can find a normal distribution, and that can be converted to a standard normal distribution. See, अगर हम आपसे ये कहते हैं कि suppose if x is distributed normal with mean 5 and variance 45, mean is 5 and variance is 45, what is the probability of x is greater than 3? Simple question. So there is no table is available in the any textbook that you can calculate probability of x is greater than 3 if x is distributed normal with mean mu and variance 45. You have to convert that structure in the standard normal form just by doing the change x minus 5 divided by square root of 45 is greater than 3 minus 5 divided by square root of 45, and then whatever value you are coming to the right side, left hand side is following the z, that is going to get to be a mean 0 and variance 1, and then use the standard table, and then corresponding you can give the probability. So similar structure is here. We are interested in calculating the finding the probability of t is less than or equal to t, but here this t is not a standard normal distribution. Is following a normal distribution with this mean and this variance. So we subtract the mean and divide by the standard deviation, and then t minus mu t minus this one, and this one is basically a normal distribution. So by using this one and this one, we can find the probability, and then probability of t is less than or equal to t. And see, suppose if we are saying that, okay, if we can this formula for n greater than 12, can we use for, why we cannot use for n is less than 12 or equal to 10? Okay, you can just make a table for this probability of t is less than or equal to t, and you can get the value. Exact value is this one. From the approximation, you are getting this value. Exact approximation. Up to 11, it is this one. Up to 13, see. Now here, this difference is reducing. These differences start reducing, and when is n goes to the 25 or 30, then there will be almost no difference. So here what we are doing, we are started with a very simple calculation, sign test. We just counted how many things are having the positive and how many of them are having the negative signs, and then we take the decision on the basis of the binomial distribution. We are assuming that it should be the with probability p is equal to 1 by 2. Same number should be positive, same number should be negative. We try to apply that one, and then we take the decision on the basis of binomial distribution. Then question is arises, okay, it's okay. Things are positive and negative is okay, but suppose something is very much positive and something is very much negative, means, so what we should do? The sign is okay, but magnitude is also there. So when we are missing the things of the magnitude, negative है, but how much negative? Positive, but how much positive? If these positive or negative things which we are using in this one, taking any decision, we are not taking into the account, means we are neglecting some information which are available to us and which can help to improve the result. So for that we came to the Wilcoxon sign rank test, and then when we discussed and we found that corresponding to that we can make a table only for n is equal to particular numbers, because it is very difficult to do the calculations. So for that one we did a proof and find that this can be approximated by a normal distribution, and that we are just show that for n is equal to 15 or something, there is hardly any difference or something, and then as n sample will increase, this will be increased. So example, in this example we are interested in the quantity FVC, forced vital capacity, in patient with crystal fibrosis. Okay, so now the volume of the air that a person can expels from the lungs in a 6-second period. So basically now this type of test is very much useful in the corona time. This will be reduced with time for cystic fibrosis present. If there in the lung there is some fibroid is there, if some fibroid is there, it reduce the efficiency of your lungs. The researchers question, will this reduction will be less when a new experimental drug is administered. So नई दवा देके they have to check it. So the design will be matched pair design. Pair of the patients are the matched using initial FVC reading. One member of the pair is given the new drugs and another member is given a placebo. So basically whenever we are going for the drugs testing, we are following the concept of the drug and placebo. In this clinical trials, we are giving the medicines to all the patients. Every patient is knowing that I am getting the medicines, but only few of them are getting the medicines, others are not getting anything, they are just getting a sweets. So those are calling the placebo. So those people are not getting any drugs and some people are getting the drugs. So we measure the reduction in the FVC for the each member and compute the differences. So now first we measure the data for every person, and after that we given the medicine only to some of them, and then take the reading for the all of them, because we are knowing that which patient is having getting the medicine or not, because most of the time you give the sweets to the patients and they are feeling that they are fine and they are getting okay. So we measure the reduction in the FVC for the each members and compute the differences. Excise the reduction in the FVC placebo minus reduction in the FVC drugs. These values will be generally positive if the drug is effective in minimizing the deterioration in the forced vital capacity. W plus will be large and W plus will be small. So, now, okay, so reduction in the force ये table है. So placebo and drug. Subject 1, placebo के बाद क्या है और drug के बाद क्या है, difference क्या है. Then in the BCG differences, they are the rank, calculated the sign rank, and then calculated W plus and W minus. On they calculated the mu value and then they calculated standard deviation corresponding to the W and this one, and this corresponding to this one we got this value, and then this is the corresponding calculated p value. This calculated p value is greater than not greater, it is a less than. Since the p value is small, then we conclude that the drug is effective in reducing the FVC. Okay, so where is this one? Yeah. So now, so how we carry the Wilcoxon sign rank test? We compute the T is equal to W plus or W minus. Usually it would be the smaller of the two. This you calculate this one observed value of T, compute the P value, and then for n is less than 12 use the table, and for n is greater than 12 use the normal approximation. Conclude HA reject or accept on the basis of P value which you are calculated. Okay, so now we are talking about the alternative test of this example. There a T test. For T test, when we are using T test, when we want to compare the mean, but we don't have any idea about the variance. Variances are known, so what we are doing, we are estimating the variance and then we are using this one. So for the sign test, total as the number of positives and then you just compare it. Okay, so comments. So T test, this test requires the assumption of normality. T test के लिए क्या क्या चाहिए? If the data is not normally distributed, the test is invalid. The probability of type 1 error may not be equal to its desired value or something. See, whenever you are using your random variables or the continuous random variable, then type of probability 1, type 1 error is always equal to the level of significance. If you are not using any continuous random variable, you are using any discrete random variable, in that case you have to use the non-randomized test procedures to achieve this level of significance. Otherwise you will get the whatever probability that in that case, sorry, probability of type 1 error is going to be less than to this one. So now, when it is a continuous, then no problem, it will always be equal. If you need in a discrete case, you want to equal, you should use the randomized test. If you are using non-randomized test, you are not going to get that length. Then we are coming to this one. If the data is normally distributed, the t-test commits type 2 error with a smaller probability that can any other test, in particular Wilcoxon sign rank test or something. Okay, so ये जो इनकी problems हैं, अगर if this assumption is followed, It is a very good test. If assumption is not followed, then there is a problem. We are talking about the sign test. The sign test does not require any assumption or the normality or any form. Okay. This statement is also true for the Wilcoxon sign rank test. This test ignores the magnitude of the observation completely. Wilcoxon test take the magnitude into the account of the ranking. Sign test की problems क्या थी? Sign rank test में we are just using the rank, sorry, using the sign. We are not using the rank, but we modify us, and in Wilcoxon sign rank test, Wilcoxon test, we just use the ranking also. Okay. So this is this one, not this one. I think it is a last topic for the today. Okay, so Mann-Whitney test. It is a non-parametric test for the two sample test for the comparison of the central location. So this is a non-parametric alternative to the two sample test T or Z for independent samples. So equality of two samples or equality of the mean, you are use T test and Z test, but here we cannot use because there is no assumption about the structures, so we are using the non-parametric. These tests assume that the data is normal. In Mann-Whitney test does not make any assumptions. Whenever you are talking about the Mann-Whitney test, you have to start with the two populations. Suppose there are two populations, x1, x2, xn, y1, y2, y. So these are the two populations. The Mann-Whitney test UA counts the number of times an observation in sample 1 precedes an observation in sample 2. See, Mann-Whitney test, just see, it counts only one thing. U1 counts the number of times an observation in sample 1 precedes an observation in sample. And equivalent statistics B2 that counts the number of time an observation in sample 2 precedes an observation in sample 1 can also be computed. Come to the example, n is equal to m is equal to 4. Measurement of a bacteria counts per unit value were made for the two type of the cultures. Then n is equal to this measurement. Culture 1 is this one and culture 2 is this one. So 21, 27, 31, 26, 25, 32, 29, 35 and 28. To compute the Mann-Whitney test statistics U1 and U2, arrange the observations from the two samples combined in increasing order. Combine them in increasing order and then just identify that it is coming from the first sample or it is coming from the second sample. For each observation in sample 2, let Ui denote the number of the observation in sample 1 that precedes the value. So U1 is equal to 3, U2 is equal to 3, U3 is equal to 4 and U4 is equal to 4. अब जरा इसको कैलकुलेट करना शुरू करो. See, start from this one. This is U2 first observation. So these three observations are preceding this one. This is second, three observation of first one, it is this one. This is U2, so four observations of this one, and it is this one, four observations of this one. So you just calculated U1, just by using this one, you get a number. Then to compute U2 repeat the process for the second sample, this one. So for U1, it is 0, for U second is 0, third one 0, for fourth one you are getting two observations only. So U2 value is 2. Now note that U1 plus U2 is equal to m into n. So m into n कितना आया 12 plus 14 plus 2 is equal to 16. So whatever value you are going to get U1 plus U2, that will be equal to m plus n. Okay. This is in general for each pair xi, xj, either xi is less than xj or xj is less than greater than yj. Assume no ties. We are whatever discussing here, there is no ties, because whatever we discuss in the previous structures, we are never talk anything about the ties. For the ties, a totally different case, and we are can manage in other ways. In one case, u1 will be increased by 1, while it is the other case u2 will be increased by 1. And so there are m and n, m into n such pairs are there. So alternative way to computing the Mann-Whitney test statistics is you arrange the observation from the two samples, combine this one, and then you just calculate this one. Okay, now alternate way में क्या करेंगे? You just combine the structures, that write down the observation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ordered, and W1 is the sum of the rank of the sample 1. 1, 2, 3, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 6 is 12, and then next one is 4, 5, 7, and 8. 4, 5, 7, and 8 is 24. So you have calculated W1 and W2. It can be shown that the U1 is equal to N into M plus this minus W1, U2 is equal to N M into this minus W2. So if you are feeling comfortable in this way, you can calculate in this way. Otherwise, you can use this way. Now, once you get the value of W1, W2, you can get the value of U1. You can, so similarly in vice versa. So W1 plus W2 is can be written in this form. U1 plus U2 is, after solving, you will get, this is a M into N. This is basically a permutation combination structure, that if two observations are in this way, how can you get this one? So basically it is a problem of permutation and combination. So the distribution function of U has been tabled for the various values of N and M. M should be less than N. Then the two observations are coming from the same distribution. So the table can be used to set up the critical region for the Mann-Whitney U statistics. इसके लिए टेबल चाहिए होती है, उस टेबल से ही आप चीजें कर सकते हैं. Now, the researcher was interested in comparing brightness of the paper prepared by the two different processes. N is equal to M is equal to 9, and this is the process A and process B. Just process A, find the combined structure, find the rank of this one and this both one, and then calculated WA and W2. See, it is very difficult to write a code for this one. If you want to write a code or manually you want to do this one, it creates a lot of problem. But for this one, it is very easy. Just write down the values in the increasing order and then write down in the table and just write down their corresponding rank. So corresponding rank 1, 2, this one, this one, this one. So 8.9. Yeah, for the tide observation, what they did, this 8 point and 9 point, they just combined two things, 13 and 14 rank, and they make it 13.5. Okay, and for the equality, they did it just this way. Then corresponding UA, they are calculated by N into M into N into N plus 1 divided by 2 minus W1, so they are getting 32, and UB you are getting 49. So from the table, N is equal to M is equal to 9, U is less than or equal to, UI is less than or equal to 18. Yeah. Yeah, it is 18. This is 18. So U is less than 18. This one. Hence, we can reject the H0 if either U or UV is less than or equal to 18. Okay. Thus, H0 is accepted. So H0 is accepted. So Mann-Whitney statistics for the large samples. So when N and M are is going to be the large, then they are telling that N is greater than 10 is the large and M is greater than 10 is the large. So no question of less than N and M. Just this is the structure. Again, what we have to find the mean. Mean is equal to N into M divided by 2, and the standard deviation is this one. So these one is whatever you are getting, this one or this one, these are the very simple algebraic calculations. By using that, we can get this one. And then this UI, the standard normal, we convert this normal distribution is standard normal distribution, and corresponding to that one, we can find the Z alpha by 2 or minus or plus whatever sign is required depending upon the alternative hypothesis. And ma'am, hello, 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 ma'am, someone is there?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir, I am there.
हाँ मैम एक थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम थी. I got a call for an urgent meeting at 4:15.
Okay, so you will
So,
end up early.
I just want to bind up right now. If any question or query is there.
Yeah, okay, we are open to questions. If anyone is having any question, then please. If anyone is having any question, then please raise your hand. I will unmute. If anyone is having any question, then please
Ma'am, you can
raise
share
your
my
hand.
email ID. They can send the question directly, no problem.
Okay.
They
So
can
if you
share
have your email ID on the slide, sir, please share the slide.
No, ma'am, I don't have right now.
You write in the notepad and share the notepad.
Yeah, I just doing that one.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Anuradha.
Arvind sir, we have our with us.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, I will take 1 minute, sir.
Dr. Pandey.
Yes, sir.
नमस्कार, कैसे हैं आप?
नमस्ते सर, ठीक हो सर, आप कैसे हैं? मैम ये नंबर पहले प्रेजेंट शेयर कर दिए हैं.
Right, sir.
So they can send directly these questions to me. Okay, so thank you, ma'am.
Sir, wait, sir. We have with us our Director of Amity
Yes.
School of Engineering and Technology, Wing Commander Dr. Anil Kumar, sir.
Yes, sir.
Today he got time to be with us, sir. So he would like to give you a thanks. Sir, please.
Thank you.
Professor Dr. Pandey,
Yes,
on
sir.
behalf of the Amity University Lucknow campus and on behalf of the entire Amity universe, I would like to extend a very warm indebtedness and gratitude to you for having spared your valuable time and given your valuable inputs to all the participants who have come from length and breadth of the country. We have faculty members and scholars coming to us from Tamil Nadu, from Karnataka, from Assam, from Gujarat, from J&K. Thank you so much, sir, for giving this valuable
Thank you, sir.
knowledge to all
Thank
of
you
them,
for giving me
answering
time.
painstakingly their all questions and queries. We are indeed very, very grateful to you, sir, and hope that you would continue to support us in this endeavor of spreading light and education. Thank you so much, sir.
Definitely, sir. I will be there. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Okay,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Arvind, sir. So we end up for today, and we'll meet at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow with the same link. I will repost the link on the Teams on the WhatsApp group and by mail. Thank you so much, everyone, for